So, good evening and welcome to a Ginetta GT5 mid-season notebook. So, similar to the Group A's earlier in the week, or should I say last week. But joining me tonight will be Jamie, who runs the league.
Good evening. Hello.
Obviously, quite a popular low-end championship and some good racing as we've seen. I mean, I think the lowest number of cars we've had on the grid this season is 12, which is pretty impressive for a league to have that sort of numbers all the way through so far.
Yeah, well, it's competitive league that everyone likes joining. Good entry point and good for the guys who want to make a name for themselves all together. So it's a good all-rounder.
Definitely. Obviously, this one sponsored by Emily Lynn Scott, who does the actual Ginetta Juniors in the British Touring Car package. Obviously, I managed to see her drive at Silverstone. Jamie will be going to Brands this weekend, also to collect the lovely prizes to be awarded to winners. So that
Yeah,
is something to look forward to, really, isn't it?
yeah. I mean, I've been in chats with Emily recently, and she's fully on board, fully sponsoring this league. Um, Always willing to ask any questions if anyone wants to ask anything. Um, Down to earth, young woman. Um, yeah, she's really supportive, and as mentioned, there's going to be a signed cap of hers and stickers for runners-up in the championship. So I'd like to thank her personally for that, and I'm sure most of the league would as well.
So tonight we're gonna, obviously being the mid-season, we have round 7 tomorrow from the legendary Bathurst. So tonight we're going to be reviewing the first half of the season, because the first half is trying to get your campaign off to a good start, and the final 6 is where you must clamp down and then take control, whether you're a contender or not, or to try and sort out any battles you have. So tonight we're going to go through each of the 6 races individually. We're going to talk about a few of the drivers. If you guys have any questions, do feel free to comment and ask Jamie anything you want. It could be to me or to Jamie, to both of us. And then after that, we're going to look forward to the 6 rounds to come towards the end of season 12. So, shall we start Brands Hatch GP, round 1 of the season? It was interesting, to say the least, to see a little bit of rust on people from season 11.
Yeah, I mean, it's always hard going into a new season. Um, you don't know what people have done in the break, whether they've got more speed, less speed, you know, new wheels, new rigs. It's just weighing everyone up, really. You don't want to give 100% and show all your cards at once. And you don't want to also look like you're not going to be up there. So everyone's holding their cards close to their chest and seeing weighing everyone else up.
It was an interesting start as well, because there was almost an unusual name at the top of the timesheets after qualifying, being Les. I mean, see, last season in season 11, he was quite a midfield runner, and then all of a sudden he came to Brands and boom, he appeared.
Yeah, I mean, towards the end of last season, Les was getting quicker. Um, these cars take quite a bit to master because you have to take corners so quickly because they don't have the straight line speed. So you're hanging the car on the edge all the time. Um, Obviously, I think over the break, Les might have stayed in touch with the car, done a bit of practicing, kept the rhythm going on it, and pulled an amazing one out the bag for going top and quality.
It must have been quite interesting for Boyrax already to not be on pole position, because last year he was probably one of the qualifying kings of the series, pulling out all sorts of mad times, and coming into round 1 immediately he's got big competition, not only from Adam.
Yeah, might have rustled a few feathers. I know since then He's you know, himself and Adam have put a bit more practice in this year. Um, a lot of us, it's not the right way of doing it, I suppose, to be competitive. A lot of us just doing hours practice before the actual race because we do a number of other leagues. Because the cars are fairly easy just to pick up and drive. But I think he got a bit of a wake-up call there and thought, I might need to do a bit more practice. And I get nagged on Fridays of when I'm opening the practice room so he can practice, just to stay on top.
So as you go down the grid, obviously you got Adam Morris, AMH was here at the start of the season, yourself in 5th, Jim, Radovan, Fraser, I mean, and even slightly as that top 8. A very, very quick and competitive top 8 in reality.
Yeah, as mentioned, you know, we've got a very good grid here. Someone like Boy Raxa, who has dominated this for the last few years, and also dominated NXTGEN with the Race of Winners. So, as much as it is a starting league for people to come into NXTGEN and get used to racing wheel to wheel with people, and there's a bit more leniency I try and give with Ginetta's, as in real life as well. You know, you do have the favourites, so to speak, and the guys who are gonna be there, and it's good for the upcomers to see the pace and potentially race wheel to wheel with them, which gives them a lot more confidence. And as mentioned, the Les was one of those newcomers, and lo and behold, first race of the season he takes pole and shows how much you can grow within the Ginettas. So it's a good asset, and it's a good promotion to the Ginettas themselves.
Yeah, carrying on down the grid, I mean, Caesar Tilbs was back, which was good to see after a season out. So he previously one of the runners of the league.
Yep.
Shadow Stalker was here, Shockshaft, Yorkshire Stick, the man who never quit, South Cape, and also Mad Marshall was there as well. But into the race, and immediately lap 1, in typical Ginetta fashion, there was a slight incident coming out of 30s.
Yeah, wheel drill racing, equal cars, very little to change on the cars, rusty. It's what you expect, round 1, race 1.
See, yeah, it's quite funny because I've got notes here. I mean, obviously, most of you have probably followed it. I do notebooks, and I actually keep all my notes. So Jamie's trying to remember back 6 rounds of action. I was like, I get the luxury just looking at some notes, going, "Oh yeah, this happened." This happened. But obviously, Cesar spun, and unfortunately, a bit of a collection behind him. But I think in reality, that was really the only really the only contact in that race. I mean, you went down to 12th on lap 1, which was an interesting one.
Yeah, I after the straight on the GP, it was I went a bit later on the brakes compared to Adam Morris, and I just kissed his rear end. Car obviously goes light on the rear, and I went on the inside of the track towards a barrier. So I dropped down a few places.
Going through Tilbs and someone else, I think. Slider spun. Then at Paddock Hill, it was interesting because Fraser was coming up through the field a little bit. I mean, he passed Jim on lap number 2, where Marshall spun. And then going on, I mean, on to lap 3 is where the Ginetta showed how good they were in the fact that AMH and Adam Morris went side by side from Paddock Hill all the way around to 30s, with AMH actually overtaking Adam Morris for 3rd place.
Yep, I mean, like I say 100 times, it doesn't matter if on the inside, doesn't matter on the outside, it's whoever's got the big man parts and keep that car with the momentum going and use the gearing correctly on them, because that's what you need to do in overtaking these.
But also on lap 3, Boyraxa resumed normal service, passing Les at Surtees for the lead. I mean, that's got to be annoying for everyone, is it not, when normal service is resumed?
Yeah and no. I mean, it just shows that the Les need just a little bit more, not much, just a little bit, and we all need to step up our game. I mean, uh, Benji Boyraxer is just too old to drive these cars now, so yeah, we have a little running joke that they're built for him, they're designed for him, so he can enjoy them.
Yeah, I mean, but then, funny enough, the Les did step it up in the next lap, whereby he then re-overtook Boyraxa at Druid's corner. I must admit, it was a very, very good move on him.
Yeah, he's, it's unfortunate with what happened with the Les, but yeah, he's got potential. He has potential. I hope to see him back, and I will push for him to come back once he's sorted personal issues out, and I'd like to see him back on the grid and, battling with the front lot.
Now, by this point, you were up to 8th place. It was starting to have a nice recovery drive. And then on lap 4 again, I think you probably remember this, the Les and AMH actually end up having a coming together.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it was probably the most unfortunate coming together you could have ever asked for, really.
Yeah, I remember seeing it and hearing about it on the mic, because we're in the party with them, and there was an issue with, I think the Les just kissed the grass and tried saving it and hit Andrew, AMH, and as AMH rejoined, he came in a bit of a awkward position for my liking, which caused a bit of an incident. I think I lost the car, but it was just wrong place, wrong time, I think, for all the incidents then on that lap, because it was quite chaotic. So, yeah.
So the race ended up with Boyraxa, defending his championship, an almost perfect start, really, a first race win. With Fraser second. Now, Fraser was a bit quiet in the race. He just went about his business, but he did have Adam Morris absolutely chomping on his chuff all the way through. And it was really good to see the fact that, because you're running teams this year, and Boyrax and Adam Morris are teammates in Snek Chuka.
Yeah.
It's almost nice to see the fact that there are people going in between them, because memories of last season, it was very much Adam Morris, Boyraxer, who was going to win out of those two, and then who was going to win out of Class B. But now with all the updates from Project Cars 2, it just seems to have closed that gap at the top significantly.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there are very limited setups on these cars, and I know Adam and Boyrax have got, let's say, the golden setup. Quite a few of us have tried to get it. I mean, there is one on which we've given to everyone, as this is what you do with the cars to try and help people. But it's not quite the golden one, and we're trying to figure out what to do to get the car to work as well as theirs does with their settings. Obviously, people drive differently, so you need to change a few things. No one's quite unlocked that potential yet. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from their driving, because their driving is impeccable. But yeah, there's a golden setup, and the funds aren't quite there for us to unlock it yet.
Let's go into the order. I see Jim 4th, Radovan 5th, Slightly Gas 6th, AMH ended up 7th, yourself 8th, AFCape 9th. I mean, after he just doesn't give up in any sort of race, does he? I mean, no matter what happens, he's always there at the end.
No, he doesn't. Cape again is one of the guys that, you know, I admire a lot. Um, he's always full of banter. He's always pushing for more out of himself in the car. And one day his time will come, and you know, I've got a lot of praise for that guy, and he always gives 110% to himself, to the car, and to the league. So
He
yeah,
also gives
he's
110% in blaming the race director as well.
yeah. I mean, we've got a little joke ongoing. Um, Whenever you're on board with someone, in the cockpit or on roof cam, they tend to go off on track. So you know, we're all saying, you know, something to do with the race director, and it must be just the commentator's curse. So yeah.
Well, maybe if anyone paid me, I'd do it to some leaders of no, I'm not mentioning. Going through the keeping going, Shockcraft, Yorkshire Stig, the Les obviously ended up in 12th. He had a bit of a bad one after
Yeah.
after that. Shadowstalker in 13th, Tilbs 14th, Caesar 15th, and Mad Marshall retired. Now, obviously, the nice thing about this league is you get a second chance at the trick, because
Yep, two races.
you don't just do one race. So the second race is obviously the feature, which is almost important to get a very good start because it's a longer race than the first, and even though it's reversed, the top 5 can't qualify. There's still a lot of time for them to get back up into the top spots.
Yes.
But going into this, obviously everyone else qualifies, so it meant that the Les got a second pole position of the season, which was a really good start.
2 out of 2. Yep.
AMH, yourself, third, Caesar, Slidergas, Tilbs, Shockshaft, Yorkshire Stig, Shadowstalker, Mad Marshall. Then obviously you had Adamaris, Boyraxer, Jim, Radovan, Fraser, who couldn't qualify. And Afcape, unfortunately, disconnected in the qualifying, which didn't help his cause at all.
No.
But into the race, and Les had a decent start. But unfortunately, one of the top guys didn't ready up in time. In the form of Jim.
Yes, I remember that.
And it's almost a funny amateur mistake on this game nowadays.
Yeah, someone of Jim's experience and racecraft and who Jim is known throughout NXTGEN. And being my teammate, it was slightly soul destroying because I'm a lone wolf that race.
So I was going into the race. Les was not having a good day after spinning it in the first race. He ended up down in 12th after lap 3. You ended up in the lead at one point on lap 3.
Yeah, it's just slipstream and car felt better than race 1. It just handed towards me and just took it for the time being.
AMH spun, Paddock Hill, Caesar spun on lap 4. And at this point, 4 laps in, and the Snick Duke guys were already 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is teamwork. They're constantly in communication on mic. They've got the pace, and once one goes through, the other one will, and they work together to use the slipstream. These cars are so slipstream dependent. You could be last by 10 seconds, and within 3 laps you'll be back up there because you're working with someone with slipstream.
Definitely.
So, yeah, they're working together.
I'll say good evening to Boyrax and Afcape. Boyrax actually saying that the setup everyone has is the one he uses, apparently.
Yeah. Okay.
So carrying on with this um, feature race, you were constantly hemorrhaging time to Boyraxa. You were just losing it as fast as you were
Yeah.
gaining it. And it, it was almost annoying sometimes to watch, really.
It's frustrating for it to be happening too as well. Um, you know, it's I know on both of if me and Benji are both me, Benji, Adam, AMH, all that. If we're on our in our day and we've got a good car and confident, we're all fairly evenly matched. I just don't seem to see Benji with an unlucky day. Um, when they're just taking chomps of time with you and you're not driving slow, not also taking risks, it's very soul destroying to see your time just going and going and going. So there's not much you can do apart from just circulate and wait till they get to you and then attack or defend.
And this ended up proving fatal almost on lap 8 when you lost your lead to Boyraxa, and then on the very next lap you ended up being side by side with Adam.
Yeah, they were just their cars were just hooked up nicely. I, if I remember correctly, I think I had front left tire issues with heat cycles. I never used to have it on P cars 1, P cars 2. I struggle with the tires. I used to be very able to. On number 1, I used to be able to save my tires forever. On this game, I seem to chew them up, and they go. The PSIs just go up and up and up. So I do struggle with tires in this game, and it's not doing me all the best.
Now, one big thing at the start of this league that happened was in the feature race you had to come in for tyres at the start. Obviously, we'll talk about that more later on, and also a question that Afcape has later on. So it meant on lap 11 you actually ended up repassing Adam because of the pit stops, because the undercut with these cars is absolutely massive.
Yeah, yes and no. Um, reason I say that is if you've still got tyre life left, stay out and pit later, um, because you'll have fresh tyres for the last bit of the race when the guys who pitted mid-race or so, their tyres time to drop off again. So it can pay good, but also it can be an undercut. It just depends where you are or what you're doing. I think it was Bugatti. It showed that the undercut was in King there. It depends on how you push when you're out on cold tyres. If you've got confidence on cold tyres, you can push. If you've got confidence on your worn set, you can also push, and maybe it just depends. Circuit and different things like that. So
Now it
it's
is
hard to
interesting with the
say.
pits because we had probably one of the most talked about moments of the race was Tilbs and his Mercedes F1 pit crew. I mean, he ended up being AMH and Boyrax out of the pits, and yeah, and this was whilst the F1 was on their summer break. It was almost like you went, nah, don't take your summer break. Come work for me. I need some help over here.
Yeah.
One of the most unbelievable stops I think I've ever seen, and it was completely legitimate as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously paid someone at Slightly Mad Studios.
To carry on then, going through, obviously, it's interesting now. I had a note from probably the lower end of the field with Shadow Stalker actually passing Radovan. It's quite nice to see the lower end getting in the notes because of the feature race. And
Yeah.
it was also quite good because I believe it was Shockshaft was leading the race at this point, and it's good to have those leading laps as a car at the mid to back pack.
Yeah, it gives you the feel and what you can achieve, because anyone can achieve it in this league. It's there's no one here that I could turn around and go, I don't think you're really ever going to lead a race or win a race. I think everyone in this league's got potential, and I know with you know the drivers coming up, anyone will have it one day, this season, next season. With the new series starting alongside this one next season, which we'll speak about later. It could be anyone's day.
So, at the end of the race, it was again still perfect for the defending champion, a second race win of 2.
Yeah, that's going to be the story of this notebook, I think.
Followed by his teammate of Adam Morris, AMH third, U fourth, Tilbs was fifth. So it was even though he had a bad first race, it was quite a good return on the second.
Nice comeback from him. Yeah, it was good to see him.
Shockshaft 6th, Raidervan 7th, Shadowstalker 8th, Fraser 9th, Yorkshire Stig is 10th, Caesar is 11th, Slidergas 12th, Deleuze 13th, Mad Marshall 14th, Archon 15th. All of them didn't finish the race, and Afgate never even started it. So that was round 1. Now, into round number 2, one of probably quite a big favourite with the group of Donington GP.
Yes.
Now, this time you decided to use the GP layout, not the national. And it was wet.
To say the least. I think we're calling the Ginetta tugboats. I think it's the best way of putting them.
So we went into race 1, Boy Raxa carrying his momentum through and taking pole position from Liam at Thurso, who obviously missed the first round, but again, if he does all the rounds, he's again another championship contender.
Yep.
Yourself in third, AMH fourth, Jim, Cam, Adam Morris had a very bad one, didn't he? Down in seventh there for qualifying.
Yeah, I don't think he's a captain. I think he's a driver. So yeah.
Question from Benji. He wants to know a stat from you. He asks,
He wants to know a stat.
Yes. How many times do you change your camera or look behind you during a race?
A direct respond to him, because I know he's doing Bathurst practice, is the first bit is inaudible, so I'm not going to say anything, and the second bit is you could watch my live streams, Benji, and possibly having a look. The reason I do it, the reason I switch cameras quite a bit is I race in cockpit, and when I'm wheel to wheel, I quickly flick through without even knowing. I know the amount of buttons. Looking at external view, so I can see where cars are, so I can see how close we are, because these are right-hand drive. So if someone's overtaking me on my left, it's very hard to see because the screen doesn't quite cover the mirror. So I use I flick to the external view, flick back through to the cockpit, and I'm like, right, there's about a car length there, so I've still got, a bit of movement in the car. I look back because I use reference points at certain points of the track, curbs and things, to see what the gapping is, and I prefer to see it because obviously, again, the mirrors aren't quite realistic, and they seem a lot further away on the mirror. They're a lot closer on the mirror than they are actually in real life, so it's very hard to distinguish what the distance is. So I do change quite a lot. Yeah, I don't know how many times. You can count for me and let me know in a minute.
To carry on. Oh, that's an interesting comment from Benji there. Bathurst practice, no idea what you're talking about. Hashtag Adam made me do it. To carry on then, we have Fraser in 8th again, not brilliant qualifying, but a decent one. Tills was 9th. Mirago Slide had his first race at Donington.
Yep.
Sandwalk joined, Shockshaft was there, Stuck 1986. Yorkshire Stig, Jeff Lepp and Afcape. And it was another good start for the championship defender. Cam almost lost the back at Redgate on lap 2. Jim lost time at Redgate and went down to 8th place on lap number 2. So that was a rare mistake from him.
Yep, Jim's quite... mine and Jim's team is reliable rooftop racing. He's quite reliable. Yeah, we'll skip the rest of it. But yeah.
I think we'll talk about it later, to be honest. Yeah, it was just a tough race all around for everyone. Not really much in the way of battling as such because of the difficult conditions. But it was quite a close race. I mean, you ended up passing Liam at the Craners, which was a fantastic move in that sort of condition. Cam... Go on.
Sorry. The cars felt... My car in that condition felt $1 million. I could place it anywhere. It would do what I want. It's how I like to drive the Ginetta. I had so much confidence, and I could see his car. I was sat behind it for a lap or so. It was moving a little bit. Mine was stable, so I was like, I'm having it.
Cameron looking to pass AMH there at Melbourne Hairpin didn't happen, but AMH did get past his teammate of Liam at Goddard's, which is the final hairpin, and he went up to P3 on lap 3. Cam passed Liam after the chicane, the fog of the S's, and he went up to P4. Now, the real thing was, on lap 5, Cam then lost that, because he went into the gravel and went down to 6th place, but the real interesting part of this race was the gap between you and Boy Rexa was coming down gradually and gradual, and then the final lap, it was together. The race was on for the win.
Yeah. I don't really want to relive it. I was taking between 3 tenths and half a second a lap out of him once I got into clear air, and I was looking at the times. I'm annoyed with myself for putting the races so short. Like I said, the car was hooked up. I remember the final lap looking at the time and I was like, right, it's do or die really. I remember going through the chicane and the GP going on to from the National to the GP on the run down to the hairpin, and I was one of the last later breakers around there than anyone I'd come across, so I was like, right, this is going to be my opportunity. I went for the move. Benji came across, but there was a little bit of contact. I think we just scuffed bumpers, which gave, obviously, I completely came off the throttle. It gave Benji the exit up the hill into the final turn, and yeah, that was my move done for. So he took another win.
Yeah, you say win number 3 of 3 after that one, followed by yourself. Then AMH took a podium, another one for him, which is good for his championship hopes. Liam 4th. Adam Morris made a good damage limitation in 5th in the end, with Cam in 6th, Fraser 7th, Jim in 8th. Tilbs came in 9th, so not a bad first race at Donington for him. Sandwalk was 10th, Stuck 11th, Shockshaft 12th, Yorkshire Stig 13th, Jeff Lepp 14th, and then Afcape and Mirrorgus like both disconnected during the race, which again wasn't ideal for Afcape trying to put in a whole campaign.
Yeah.
So then we head into the feature, which was again wet, and Fraser stuck it on pole for this one. A good lap by him, and very tight between him, Cam and Tilbs.
Yeah, I remember watching Fraser's lap, and it was an impressive lap.
Following that was Jim, Shockshaft, Sandbox, Yorkshire Stick, Stuck, Jeff Lap, Half Cape. Then you had the top five, which is obviously AMH, Adam Morris, Liam, Boyraxi yourself.
Yeah.
And we went to lap one. Cam had a good start. He went up into the lead. Jim was on the grass at Redgate again. He really did struggle around Donington, didn't he?
Yeah, I didn't speak to him much after the race, to be honest, but I know that he had I know the weather's quite difficult, and I think there was a little bit of contact involved where he went off, and once you're on the grass on these, you're in quite a bit of trouble.
So carrying on from that, it was just a load of little bits of passing here and there from everyone. The SB racing guys were passing each other, having a battle between themselves, which is quite good to see. Generally, just a very tight race with bits of overtaking, and then all of a sudden, a lake appeared at the Fogarty S's. Lake, it was almost like Lake Fogarty was born.
Yeah.
And I believe AMH, Liam, Adam all remember it very, very well.
Yeah, yeah, it was difficult. It was very difficult.
You're almost lost for words that there was a lake in the middle of the circuit, aren't you?
Yeah, I can't really say much about it. I remember there was two different lines to take at the beginning. You could either go in the middle or to the left-hand side. People were going through the middle got filled up. I was staying to the left. It was a lot slower, but it was the only bit where you could get any type of traction. I think everyone went straight on there once or over or something. It was impassable at times, but it made the commentary fun, and
Oh, it definitely made it
considering
fun.
he gets paid a lot, you have to make him laugh.
Yeah, it was good to see top guys struggling through certain corners because of conditions. I mean, it made it very close racing and on the edge racing almost because you just never knew who was going to make the next mistake.
No.
I mean, you could be leading the race at one point, then all of a sudden you just clip a puddle on this game and you're down to fourth, fifth position.
You're gone for.
So obviously going through the race, obviously lots of little bits of passing, people spinning out of the Fogarty S's. But in the end, Boyrax came through yet again, and I was ending up interviewing him for the fourth time in 4 races.
I think you've got a very special bond, you and him.
Special. Boring.
Just the amount of talking.
I mean,
Yeah.
The amount of times I've said on the stream after, and here's Benji, I thought his name was Boyraxa, who won the race again. But AMH, another podium for him, and Liam, a good start rate to his campaign since he started around later, because he finished third in this one.
Yeah, good finish by him. Good driving.
Adam Morris again using damage limitation, and Tibbs yet again, top 5.
Consistent start to the beginning of the season. A return. You never really lose touch with the Ginettas. They're always good fun.
I mean, I think I remember talking to Tibbs about it, and he was saying he's always finding the fact that race 1 he doesn't do so well, but come race 2 he's absolutely on it.
Yeah, I think that's quite first 2 rounds. 4 races, I think that's quite apparent.
You end up 6th behind him. Your teammate behind you in 7th. Fraser 8th, Yorkshire Stig 9th, Half Cape 10th. Finally getting a bit of pace out of the car. Stuck was 11th. Jeff Lepp was in 12th. And then you had Cam retiring. sandwalk who didn't ready up in time, and a shock shaft disconnected. Now I remember Stuck actually ended up having some steering issues during the race.
Yeah. My point of view again, I remember making one of the best starts out of the back runners, and I think I got to P6 or so in lap 2, sorry. Coming through the field, and I, for some strange reason, there was two Ginettas off in front of me. I managed to sneak through, and I was alongside him. I was coming up to the right hander before the Foggy S's. I can't remember the name now.
Toppers.
Yeah. And I was on the inside, and I got hit on the straight in the left-hand side, which sent me into the gravel with him. And it lost me a heap of time that I could never get back onto the field. So it was a peculiar incident because it was on a straight, but it turned sharp right, and once he said steering issues, I was like, explains a lot. So yeah, unfortunate technological malfunction there.
I mean, you've also always got to treat those sorts of things as you do in real life. I mean, it was quite literally a mechanical failure.
Yeah, you can't, running this and obviously things like that. It's very easy to go throw the book at people, but the thing is with the Ginettas, like I said, it's a rookie series as well as a top guy series, and things happen. You have incidents, and you've just got to deal with the good as it comes and cope with the bad. It's going to happen to everyone at some point, and you just got to deal with it, and remember that there are people who aren't quite as confident as yourself. So yeah, no, things like that happen, and I'm sure he wasn't overly impressed with himself because his wheel failed, even though it's not his fault. And at the end of the day, it's what happens, and I feel sorry for him.
So going on then to round 3, the first quarter of the season coming to the close, and Adam Morris set a blinder of a time, really. I mean, he was looking very sharp, taking the pole position.
Adam's got the pace in him. He's got he's really, he is quick. Just needs that bit of luck on his side.
So going into the race then, Boy Raxer unfortunately done him off the line, and it was a shame, really, because Boy, it is one thing to almost catch Boy Raxer, stay with him, but once he's ahead, it's a completely different ball game to try and overtake him.
Yeah, he's really good at defensive moves and things, and he's difficult to overtake.
So obviously that happened, which probably wouldn't have done Adam Morris any good. Thinking, yeah, I've got pole, and oh, there he goes off the line. But carry on. Obviously, Liam had a good qualifying in third, but unfortunately had a bit of an incident into the flat right-hander.
I don't really remember it all that well.
It just got a bit round wide apparently by Cam. It is quite a tight one, really. But he ended up in the gravel. But then, unfortunately, Cam went wide at the first right-hand hairpin, which is a bit unfortunate because that put him down into 10th. Half-cape, I mean, the king of starts normally, and he proved that again.
Half-cape's always been really good at starts. He's got a gift.
it's fair to say you wouldn't want to start alongside him on the front row, because you'd always have that feeling that into turn one you've lost your first place position.
Yeah, the top 3 rows, as we normally say. Oh god, half capes nearby. So
But unfortunately, yet again, Cape's luck in this championship has not been good in season 12, and
no,
it
you see a
paid
lot of
dividends again.
disconnections.
It paid dividends again. Lap one, he just lost the back end going through the final section, and quite a big pilot crash. Unfortunately, no one could do anything about it, really.
It's unfortunately, as I was saying with the incident with the wheel, is part of racing.
But Cape ended up actually retiring in the end, which is a bit of a shame, because obviously if you retire you get no points. Going through, AMH ended up getting Adam for second during the race on lap 3, which is good to see. Cam ended up passing Samrock. He was back up to P5. I mean, what a recovery drive from a spin.
Yeah, it was. It's the Ginettas. You can be anywhere, and then you can find pace or get into a nice battle with someone or a nice bit of slipstream, and lo and behold, you're back up there.
So, carrying on through, Liam was behind Cam. We got near the end of the race. And Boy Fraxer ended up winning again. I mean, 5 out of 5. It was the perfect start to defending a championship. I mean, I don't think any of us could believe that he'd done 5 in a row.
No, he's like I said, he never has any bad luck, and he seems to always have a good day. And one day, hopefully his luck will run out, and we'll be able to fight him.
Adam Morris was second. AMH again, yet another podium, really putting a strong case forward for season 12.
Yeah, another upcoming stuff. It's good.
Yourself fourth, Liam ended up fifth. Another great recovery drive. I think I gave him my driver of the race for that one, because going down to the back and finishing in the top 5 is a tremendous drive by any stretch.
Yeah.
Cam was 6th, Shockshaft 7th. I mean, he went well actually around Bugatti Shockshaft.
I think it's one of his good tracks. We all have our favourite tracks. We all have tracks we like and tracks we despise. I think it's one that's good to him.
Fraser in 8th, I think it was probably a mediocre one for him, because it is quite hard around Bugatti to get a rhythm going. If you can, I mean, it pays massive dividends in the end.
Yeah, it's one of those tracks. It's a very Marmite track. You either love it or you hate it.
Jim Knight, Sandwalk, Radovan, Shadowstalker and Jeff Lepp all were the other runners. But into race number 2, and Fraser put it on pole. So, having a mediocre race 1, he storms it to pole for race 2.
Shows what different sessions do on this game. They feel completely different from session to session. It's just a guessing game.
Cam second. I mean, you really can't tell anymore who's going to take the top spot in qualifying. I mean, it is a completely open game, but we carry on into the race, and Liam, who started in 11th, because obviously he wasn't able to qualify, up into 6th by the end of lap 1. I mean, he was really trying to get to the front and get away from everyone.
I think he was a bit fired up from race 1, so he was very let me at them.
But it almost seems with these reverse grids, if you are one of the top guys that don't qualify, or you're one of the top guys that just finish outside and get pole position on the next race, You just need to go as fast as you can, get a bigger gap as possible, and hope and pray that everyone else behind you doesn't get through the field very quickly.
Yeah, or come through together. Because if you've got a lead, and like I said, if you've got a teammate or someone who's not prepared to battle you, you can push up on P1. If you're all battling, or there's a spanner in the works, then it tends to slow the field down and equal it out, that someone does get a chance to make the break.
So, going through it, obviously, again, in typical Ginetta fashion, good little moves going on, and very very slight bits of contact, proper touring car like, which is really good to see actually from a touring car support like category of car, to have the allowance of the touring car aspect in it.
I tried to bring touring car aspect to this as much as possible, obviously being, you know, I follow touring cars, I marshal touring cars, I know touring cars, everyone knows about touring cars, and it's a very popular motorsport discipline, so try and do the same in the league.
So in the end, for the first time in the season, I didn't have to interview Boy Raxa.
I bet you felt heartbroken.
Oh mate, I was absolutely gutted. But instead, I got to speak to Adam Morris for the first time I think this season. From that race.
Not much better.
So Adam Morris ended up taking the first non-Boy Raxa win, which was nice to see, and very, very good for his championship, because Boy Raxa ended up third behind Liam, so that is good points being clawed back from that night.
Yeah, it is. Still another green machine at the front though. Um, good teams points as ever. You know, they're well ahead. They've pretty much sewn up the championship in the first half of the season almost.
AMH coming fourth, so him and Liam were actually having a really good season as a team as well. I mean, they were up there, but obviously with Liam not participating in round one, it made it very hard to keep up with the Snekjuka guys.
Yeah, they're just you know, they're another level, aren't they?
You ended up finishing off the top 5 with your teammate right behind you. It's been an interesting one for your team up to round 3. I mean, not always top results, but very at least middle order. So always thereabouts, but just not quite enough in the first 3 rounds to be right in there.
No, we're very. I think, you know, we get tangled up in battles with was then Andrew, Liam, and we give the Snekjuka guys chance to go. If one of us are with the Snekjuka guys, as we'll talk about probably later at Alton, they don't have the, you know, you can separate them. They're a lot more vulnerable to attack, and you can do it. Problem is, we're so evenly matched with others that it takes so long to get past them, and the other two are just slipstreaming each other 10-15 seconds in the lead. And then it's just, well, there's no catching.
So after visiting France, we then go to the Middle East and to Dubai. Very hot and very fast track in the end.
Yep, new one on the calendar as well.
So we started off with qualifying, and yet again it was a Snekjuka front row. Followed by Gaza, who first race back after a while out of the Ginettas. It was impressive, really, to go into third place.
Gaz is very naturally quick in any car, on any Project Cars game. He's got pace. Um, yeah, he's driven that in GT3s, the Dubai track, so he knows it. Just a little less downforce, a little less grip, and a lot less speed. So he knows how to drive the car, he knows where to place the car, and he knows the lines around there. So, yeah, he's good return, strong return. Give the Snake Trooper boys a bit of, something to eat.
So obviously going down to the first, you got your regulars, but we had a couple of new guys on the block. In Prosser, Cut Marco, Rocket. Rocket ending up not actually qualifying because he got disconnected. But
Yeah.
into the race, we were down to 12 cars before we even started. We had, obviously Rocket didn't make the start, Sandwalker got disconnected, Avcate got disconnected, and also Prosser in the space of about 10 seconds. It was a bit of a weird thing to happen.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to restart the session. So it's one of those, malfunction again. It's very annoying.
And Dubai, as we knew, was always going to be good for Slipstream, and that proved it. I mean, my notebook for Dubai was quite a big one. For both races, really. I mean, it was fantastic to watch. I mean, I would go through every detail, but it'd take us about half an hour to get through it.
Yeah.
Just constant overtaking. It was fabulous to watch, and constant little mistakes happening where the track was so wide you could get away with a lot, but a lot of you pushed your luck a little bit too much sometimes.
Yeah, when you're on the edge, it's easily done. When you're full wide going into the hairpin, it's going to be incidents or miscalculated braking, and it's it's a wide track. It's a warm track, so it's grip. It's also a slippery track, so it's a bit of anything. You don't know what you're going to get the next lap, and it can vary.
And that kind of proved on lap 4 at one of the hairpins when everyone suddenly had a spinning massacre.
Yeah. Was that hairpin one by any chance?
It was at turn 5, hairpin right, and I've got noted down here that you, Fraser, AMH all spun on it, and I think there was a couple of others that had a big wiggle on it. I mean, it was almost like someone had chucked down a bucket of water just ready for you guys before you entered.
I can't remember exactly what happened. Cars involved. But what I do know is there was two cars going for a position. Two cars made contact. Two cars spin. Myself trying to avoid spin. Car behind me tries to avoid. Three cars spun, and I think spun, and we all just like, let's just go, and just trying to scramble back to the track however we could. It was just an absolute chaos, and the cars were just going left, right and centre, and you just had to hope, and if you got it wrong you'd obviously turn the wheel not to crash into someone, and then you'd end up spinning because it was quite slippery. So
The worst thing for
yeah.
you lot was that it was all caught on the stream, so it was quite an amusing thing for everyone to watch, to be fair.
Yeah.
But normal service resumed for race 1 Dubai. Boy Rexa coming in for yet another interview. But
Yeah,
Gaza,
I mean,
Gaza in second.
yeah, as I said, lad's got pace. He's yeah, no, he's a good driver. He can battle.
I mean, another good result really was Radovan, who finished third after qualifying in fifth. I mean, he shows spurts of pace, but not consistent.
No, I mean that's the thing. You've got to be consistent, otherwise you get eaten up by others. He's got the pace. He knows he's got the pace. I think if people do season reviews on themselves, that might be a sub area to look at. Is to maybe do consistent pace.
Another driver that was quite impressive actually to buy was Yorkshire Stig. Now normally near the lower mid pack, end up being seventh. I mean, it was brilliant to watch someone who was new to the championship, start of the season, almost start to blossom a little bit and progress up towards that mid pack.
Yeah, it's as I said earlier, you race wheel to wheel because obviously the top guys are going to come through from the back. You're racing wheel to wheel with them. You watch their lines. You watch how they take the corners. You learn. You pick up things, and eventually, half a season, you'll be up there, and it just proves, you know, 4 rounds in, and someone's gone leaps and bounds where you've been racing with them. So my tactic of doing the reverse grids or what, nice.
So moving on to the race 2, and a very similar story for the race, but qualifying, obviously AMH took pole from Jim, Sandwalk, Fraser. Prosser ended up qualifying 6th, which was a good one, even though the top 5 obviously weren't allowed to qualify. That was still a good lap time by him, being his first race almost.
Yeah.
But going into the race from that grid, and yeah, I kid you not, I mean, you've seen the notes I make. They're not normally long ones. They're literally brief descriptions and annotations of what I see. And I kid you not, this one span, I ended up using 2 pages of my notebook for this. It was crazy. Brilliant. It created a lot of work for me afterwards, but it was brilliant to watch, to be fair. It was some glorious battles going on. See, a bit of misdemeanor going on, but in general, in general, a very, very fantastic race going on. Constant battling, constant overtakes, and yet again, all on edge.
It just sums up the Ginetta championship, really, doesn't it?
I mean, would you say that race would cement Dubai's place for next season's calendar? Because
Possibly.
It's produced probably some of the best racing for battles and overtakes and a little bit of action in its first season in the calendar. It's surely one to definitely think about for season 13.
Yeah, I mean, when I plan the seasons, I do it on what I think would be good racing and what will throw a bit of, you know, a bit of spice into things. And I mean, if it was all done for what I like, we'd be doing 12 races at Monza, because I like the Ginettas around it, but it's done to make the league progress, and with running the GT5s / juniors next season, and then running another Ginetta next season, they will be running at the same tracks. I've also got to think about the new cars coming in, and we'll see. I go through every track, I look at what there is there, how the cars would perform, what racing we could get out of it. So, we'll see. There's no tracks confirmed, but yeah, it's definitely one of the good ones. So we'll see.
So the next race we go to is one you really wanted to race because of previous things happening, and it fell down to me to host it instead.
Yeah. Suppose it's the pain in the arse of being a marshal. Either race or go to Goodwood Festival of Speed.
Problem is, this certain track was the jewel of motorsport. As your
Yeah, I
circuit.
do love this track.
And typically normal service resumed in qualifying. Boyrax are on pole position again. Liam ended up second with Adam Morris third, so your top 5, well, 6, 7, it was your typical 7 in reality, with some cars missing. Obviously, Boyrax, Liam, Adam Morris, AMH, Fraser, Gaza, Ray Devan. Jim didn't get on so well in 10th, but Scooby G and Scott McFall ended up joining as fillers because, as we know, Jeff, otherwise known as Scooby, loves Monaco. He's a sucker. Any car, any race, he'll go around there for it. But one that produced surprisingly good racing, Asia, being such a tight street circuit.
I mean, small cars. I remember it from last season, and it was good racing there. I wanted revenge on Adam because he done something, even though he says he didn't, but he did. And yeah, I wasn't there, but I know the cars, you can go too wide around there quite easily in these. And because they're not open cockpit, you know, they're tin tops. The barriers aren't as scary as driving a Formula Renault or something around there.
Edu just said, how many times have you wished there was an incident to do something as the race was boring as hell? Don't ask me what. Weird comment, weird question.
Is that to me or to you?
To you, that was.
His comments always crack me up. Sorry, I'm gonna let. How many times have I wished I'd do something? Because the race is boring as hell. None. To be fair, I think the GT5s, even though they don't have the pace, provide some of, if not, I would argue, the best racing in next gen. I mean, well, as you guys know, I do the Clios, I do the modern Tours, the Group A's. Excuse me. And there's good battles in that, but the thing I love with the Ginettas is you're never safe, and you think you are, and there's always something to surprise. And you know, we all like racing with the top 10 within half a second, but when you've got the top 5 within 2/10 of a second, it's, you know, it's never boring. I've never been wished I could do something. So the answer's never.
And always backing up that point, I mean, in the first race at Asia, Jim pulled off what was at the time the move of the season. I don't know whether you actually ended up watching the stream in the end or not, but Jim pulled off one of the best overtakes of season 12.
I didn't actually get to see it. I wish I did.
He ended up passing Ray Devan at Massenet round the outside. Now, if those of you listening don't know where Massenet is, you come off the start line from Monte Carlo, go through the first right hander, that's Saint-Avant. Then you go up through the little curved straight up the hill, which is Beau Rivage, and then a really long left hander before you hit the Casino Square. That's Massenet. And Jim went round the outside of Radovan there, and there was no contact. Absolutely no contact. Around the outside of Massenet, all clean, and got the position.
As I mentioned, mine and Jim's team name. Reliable is Jim. Rooftop. And then there's racing, which we try and do every week.
But yeah, at the time, move of the season, and for me, I mean, as you know, I commentate on 3 different leagues for NXTGEN, and that was one of the best moves I have seen this season. In general, it was a fantastic piece of work. But in general, Liam and Adam were battling, and AMH and Gaz were battling. And yet again, we got to talk to our favourite defending champion. Mike Rex.
I wasn't there. No. I'm joking.
Liam was second, Adam Morris third, AMH fourth, Gaza fifth. All 4 of those are having battles between each other. Really good to see. Scooby ended up 10th on his debut. That was interesting because Scott actually didn't want to take any points away from this race. Being a filler, he decided he didn't want any points out of it. So he tried to actually stop and wait for everyone else to pass him across the line. Which, okay, is fair enough. I mean, it's fairly sportsmanlike from him, considering he doesn't normally do Ginettas. But Afcape decided very much against this, and he rear-ended Scott McFall over the line to take 14th place.
Okay.
It was, yeah, interesting way to end the race. But then we headed to race 2. And Radovan put it on pole position after Fraser got disconnected from pole position. It was very, very harsh. And if you didn't know, Jamie is currently sat in the Hurricane. I don't know if he's still with us or not. Whilst we wait for Jamie to get out of the Hurricane. Radovan obviously put on pole, followed by Scooby. Scott McFall was third, so that's quite good for him. Sandhawk 3, Half Cape, Yorkshire Stig, Jim, Shockshaft, Shadow Stalker. The race was quite interesting. Hopefully Jamie's there again.
Yeah, so I've got a problem with my headset.
He survived the hurricane that was going on in the background. Before you went outside, Fraser in qualifying was on pole and then got disconnected, which is very, very harsh for him. Because he had so much more, he had a lot of pace compared to everyone else, but Radovan ended up taking his first pole position because of it. So again, a lot of people showing the pace that they have.
Yeah, it's, you know, keeps getting said, you know, there's so many people that can just surprise and pull one out the bag, and you know, you never know what's coming from race to race, so enjoyment.
So going into the race, obviously Scooby on the front row as well takes the lead off the line. It was a brilliant start by him, and his debut in the Ginettas. Good job he likes as your circuit, because he got off the line and started leading the race, which is fantastic. But the biggest thing was AMH. Slicing and dicing his way through the race. By the end of lap 1, he started 11th, finished lap 1 in 7th. I mean, I remember Phil watching the stream that day, and come near when he was near the front, he said it was like watching Ashley Sutton going through a field. But yeah, really good to watch. But again, in AMH fashion, he unfortunately spun it. It was.
You see, very unlucky with that.
It was almost like a constant bad luck thing that happened to AMH this season. Was he get out near the front, have a really good chance of getting a good result, and all of a sudden just spin it out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. You don't wish that upon anyone, really.
And also in this race, we had another brand new overtake of the season. Boyraxer and Gazin. This was on lap 14. Bear in mind, this was a 21 lap race. So 2/3 of the way into the race. Boyraxer and Gaza went side by side into Mirabeau. Now that's the one before Lowe's hairpin, the right-hander. They went side by side through Mirabeau, round Lowe's all side by side, through the next right-hander, through Portier, through the tunnel, and they didn't actually finish being side by side until halfway through the chicane after the tunnel at the Nouvelle chicane, where Boyraxer eventually took the place. I mean, was sensational battling racing to go side by side for what was effectively a quarter of the lap at Monaco. Jamie can't say anything because he wasn't there, but you know.
No, sorry, no, it's difficult to commentate on. I mean, it's sorry to speak about, but they're both good drivers, aren't they? You know, one's a 5-time GT3 champion, one's a 3-time Ginetta, 2-time reigning Ginetta and Race of Winners champion. You know,
I think the funniest thing about that was there was Phil on the stream, and as soon as that move got pulled off, I mean, I was watching through the back, and all of a sudden I get this comment on my thing that says, "What a move!" And it was all in caps, all elongated. It was one of the funniest comments I've seen for a while on a stream at times. But in typical Azure fashion, unfortunately, the last 3 laps, not many battles, but during the race, a fantastic race. And we also saw Boyrax's first ever mistake for season 12, in reality. Spinning.
Oh, damn it, I missed it.
Well, you can go back and watch the stream. It's all live. No, it is genuinely caught on the stream as well. So you can go and relive that moment. Yeah, he ended up spinning at Massenet into the inside wall on lap number 18. Only lost
That's
in one.
Be on repeat.
only ended up losing 1 place. However, it was a rarity to catch on camera. So analyse that and try and make him do it again, I think, is it not?
Indeed.
So we didn't have Boyraxer as our winner, which is good news. But we ended up talking. But we ended up talking to Adam Morris again. No, Adam Morris did win. I mean, it was a good drive from him. I mean, he did have to fend off Liam again. But Gaza completing the podium in 3rd. Yeah, I mean, Scooby G, I mean, let's talk about him around there. I mean, 5th place, first time in the Ginettas, and in his second race getting top 5. I mean, what more could you ask for?
Um, yeah, I'm gonna have a little dig at Jeff. He came on and he said he wanted to race Azure Monaco, and he said it's one of my favourite tracks. I'll walk away with both races. I said okay. He said, "Oh, no, it's gonna be easy." It's not. You got the big guys. You've got Fraser here, who's obviously through Renault finalists and stuff. You've got good names here, and the Ginettas are so close, as I keep saying, and you're never gonna, unless your name's Boy Raxa, have an easy life in them. Really, it's a lot of people say, "Oh, don't race them because they're too easy." My response to that is, come and give it a go. If you're right, you're right.
So moving on to round 6, Alton Park. I haven't actually finalised my notes, and in fact, actually, I haven't really done any notes at all. But it was definitely some interesting. I mean, Fraser, he had so much pace round Holton Park. I mean, taking the first pole position, it was a fantastic time.
It's one of his favourite tracks. And I was speaking to him afterwards. He loves Alton Park.
Liam also done race 1. I mean, it was a good solid second place for him. And again, it was top regulars down to, well, Avcape in 10th, really. Another new driver to the series, LB Sergio, down in 12th, obviously getting to grips with the car. So it was going to be interesting to see how he would fare in this, really.
I think he's going to be one to watch out for very soon. He's got a lot of natural pace in him. I've raced him a few times now, and I think he's going to be doing well soon.
But to the end of the race, and guess who he spoke to again?
FK.
Well, we do. I think I have spoken to Avcape, just unfortunately not for the winning circle. No, yet again, Boy Raxa won the race. It's a bit of a theme going on. I tell you what, at this point, we've not had a non-Snekchuka win.
No.
Someone, please, Bathurst, break that. It was another Snekchuka one too. Boy Raxa followed by Adam Morris. Again, a pretty perfect race for the pair of them working together. Liam finishing at the podium, so still a good result by him. Radovan, again, another good result for him, 4th, Jim 5th. Just kind of like picking it back up again after a couple of bad races for him. And Fraser, unfortunately, down in 6th. He just didn't quite have the race pace.
No, he had very good quality pace, so I'm not sure what happened in the race, but it just didn't feel...
I mean, I believe he ended up actually running default setups, did he not? In the race, he ended up having his qualifying setup removed and replaced by the game with the default one. He just didn't quite lock it back in.
That could be the reason why.
Yourself only down in 7th, but you only qualified 8th, so it's kind of a bit of a given, really, that one. Avcape, I mean, up into 8th, I mean, again, showing where he should be all the time if he didn't have any bad luck and problems. Yorkshire Stick, though, I mean, potential driver of the race on that one, he qualified last in 14th and ended up in 9th place. I mean, another fantastic drive from him.
Yeah, someone else picking up the car, and there's a lot of people just getting quicker and quicker. So it's what we like to see. At least the league's doing its job and moving in the right direction. So I'm not complaining.
I mean, the biggest surprise really from race 1 was Gaza. down in 11th place.
I think he had an incident somewhere,
Mm.
and he just didn't enjoy it. I think he lost a bit of get up and go.
So moving on to race 2 at Alton Park, and yet again, because Fraser didn't finish in the top 5, qualified it on pole again, another pole position point. Gazza second,
Yeah.
yourself third. Only 12 in this race in the end. But Afcape in the top 7, which was good to see. Qualifying, Jim had obviously Jim, Boyrax, Adam, and Radovan couldn't qualify. But it was all set for a very interesting race because Alton Park's not easy to overtake on. In reality, it produces very good action, but not many overtaking opportunities in reality.
It's a very narrow track, so it's difficult to overtake. You've got to really think about it and plan it.
I mean, Alton Park is more of a switchback and exit overtaking track rather than an entry in reality, because you try down the inside, you end up on such a tight line, you don't actually gain any momentum coming out of the corners.
No.
But somehow, some way, I don't know how, but Boyrax had won the race. From the back. It was amazing to see, and that was win number 10 of the season for him out of 12 races.
Yeah. Still don't think he yeah. No, I if things are different for myself, I'm not sure. I don't know whether he might have won it, he might not have. It would be nice to see what would have happened, but my headset died and I couldn't hear my car.
It was an interesting one, but it does show that having no mistakes and no issues, I mean, it really does help you in this championship.
Yeah, it's consistency is king, I think.
I think the biggest question now, I mean, obviously halfway through the season, Boyrax are very much leading the pack after 10 wins out of 12. I mean, let me quickly get, I don't know if the tables are up. Let's see if I can find them. No, I think we've only got round 5 tables at the moment. But he's winning by a fair margin now. Is there any way you can see Adam Morris pulling it back in for a potential finale battle at the famous Monza?
Hopefully a lot of disconnects and crashes, that's all we can wish for.
Paid assassins. But in all honesty, can you see Adam pulling this back?
I think he's got the potential. It depends how much he wants to rival his teammate. It's very much... They're going to hate me for this. It's very much Lewis Hamilton, Bottas scenario in that team. There is a very distinctive number 1 driver, and there is number 2 who will just get the points for the team and also, you know, just crack on.
But now that the teams is all pretty much wrapped up for him, I mean, it's going to be very hard to catch up in the teams. Surely now the drivers open game. You'd like to feel anyway.
I think we just need a bit of luck with, or bad luck with Benji, and everyone else have cracking luck.
Oh, and I do have some results tables, which is always good and handy. So, in the end, I mean, 42 the gap, obviously definitely not over yet, and definitely catchable, especially with the way the point system works. It's just
Yeah,
getting there. So it'd
it's
be
very
interesting.
much Snake Chuka at the top, and then it's the reliable to the rooftop racing.
So let's have a quick, let's almost scan back through a few of the driver seasons. We're not going to pick Boy Raxa or Adam because, let's be honest, we've kind of discussed their whole season as we go. Um, but let's start off with yourself, because it's been a fairly quiet season for you in terms of action, and just getting results has been quite quiet.
Yeah, I've not really performed that well this season. Um, it's I'm trying to do. I'm focused on racing, but I'm not 100% focused on racing because I'm trying to plan big things for next season that I want to be quite a big success. I'm trying to get full backing from Ginetta for prizes and things from themselves. Obviously, there's going to be a new car coming in alongside the GT5 slash Junior. I haven't decided yet. Um, I'm doing a lot of things behind the scenes that it's hard to try and stay on top of things and race at the moment. It's also quite soul destroying with the whole Snake Chuka thing, which is fair play on them. They're a class above the rest. Um, but it's, um, we're trying to. So it's been a very up and down season. There's potentially 2 or 3 races I could have won, and 2 or 3 races that stuff's gone wrong. Mike dying one of them, and I had to cut pace there. And there's just unfortunate things, but that's racing. That's what we do.
Picking another one, Fraser. His season is not. He's had the pace. It's just been a very unlucky one for him, really, hasn't it?
Fraser has had a lot of troubles with pits, which will not be happening for the second part of this season. We, from now on, there is no pit stop, so you can go the whole race on one set of tyres. Tyre wear will still be on, but the actual pits won't be, due to the fact of a number of drivers have just they've not changed the tyre. The game's got a flaw in it somewhere, and I've seen video proof of them selecting it, and it's just not doing it. So Fraser's one of those, and it's kind of he's a good asset to any next gen race, and he's a good asset to the Ginettas, and I don't want to lose him along with others. So the pit stops will change, and hopefully he will be up there second part of the season to give him motivation for the following.
Finally, let's pick up AFK, because as much as he doesn't get spoken about often, he's there every race. He watches pretty much every stream live. He just never gives up, and he always has hope that one day, just one race, he's going to be battling for that win.
I'm adamant he will get that win with the amount he puts in. He's getting there. He just needs that extra couple of tenths, and I'm sure we all know what it's like trying to get your first win. You put a lot of pressure on yourself. Um, You know, it's difficult to get your first win because everything gets sweaty and you overthink things too much and you start, you know. But he's got the he's got the pace, he's got the driver skill, he's got the determination for sure, and he's another one like everyone else. I'm glad to have racing within this league, and without them, we'd be nowhere. So, yeah, no, that's good.
So let's look ahead to the next 6 races then. Now, the next race obviously at Bathurst, that's there pretty much every season at the moment. A day dusk race.
Yes.
I mean, that can produce any sort of race result because it's such a tricky circuit that not even Boy Raxer is safe from making no mistakes.
No, it's technical track. It requires balls and great fun in these cars because you can feel it moving around over the undulations. It's anyone's game.
I mean, if you had to pick someone, who would be your favourite around that circuit?
If he's racing tomorrow, he's got potential. My two would Gaz or Liam. I reckon they'd do well at it.
Then for round 8, we head to New Zealand for the first time in the Ginetta's history for Ruapuna. Now, I love Ruapuna circuit, so it's going to be a good one for me to commentate on. But again, brand new circuit for everyone. What are you really expecting around there?
Hopefully, some quality racing. It's just a taster, and I'll put it in there because we haven't done it before, and I want to see the cars around it and see what it's like.
Got any favourites for that one? Being a new track to the league.
Not really that. I don't want to say him, but I reckon one of the Snake Chukers, just purely because it suits their driving style, and you know, I think they're gonna just practice for it. I think they'll do well on that.
Then we go to Austria and the Red Bull Ring, otherwise known as, I like to call it the A1 ring because that's what it is. That'll be a very much slipstreamy track until you hit the
Dubai.
I think it'll be a lot more like another Dubai apart from the middle part of the circuit, which only lasts for about 20-25 seconds. So that one really is anyone's game. There is really no favourites in that one because you could come from the back of the pack and still win that one, which is be interesting to watch.
I think Sector 2, with these cars, you'll be able to cling side by side with someone. Not so much any other cars, but these you'd be able to hold them anywhere. Because it's a fairly wide track as well, you'd be able to get 2 or 3 of these, providing you're sensible side by side. So it could provide good racing, the slipstream to the alongside to trying to get past. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Then you head to Snetterton 300, which the modern touring car's done this week. And it's a bit of a mix of both top line slipstream and good cornering ability. I mean, it's going to be a tough one to set the car up really for it. Do you go top outright pace in the straight line, or do you save a little bit and have something in the corners?
If it's me, it's all out, do or die. You know, I done the modern tours this week, and I won the Clios, and I was on loose, and they're horrible on loose, but you know, it varies. It's up to what the driver wants to do, and it's a dusk race, so should be a nice one to watch as well. And you know, following the touring car package, I thought I'd stick it in there, and big curbs, scary corners, watch the little Ginettas scramble for grip.
Then the penultimate round is Watkins Glen International. What a circuit to have some Ginettas on. I mean, the only track,
Fast.
the only track from America, and it's one of the quickest ones there.
Yeah, I remember watching the NASCARs around it, and they're slipstream dependent, obviously. And I'm watching it a few years back, and I was thinking, good track, looking through, and found the international layout, which is just flat, 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 flat. I think it might, in all seriousness, I think there's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 braking zones on the whole track. So, yeah, no, it should be a good race.
Then we get to the finale, the end of season 12, and this one's got a very, very big twist on it because it's a different variant of one of your favourite tracks for Ginettas. And
Yes.
a slight twist, which I'll let you explain on it.
Well, yeah, it's obviously full Monza with double points. People are in championship battles. It's going to be a do or die. It's get everyone rolled up, get everyone interested, get rivalries on the go to bring them back for next season to settle them. It's a bit of a cliffhanger at the end of a soap. You know, it's there. It's a cracking track. It's an iconic track. It's a good Ginetta track. Um, it's Monza and it's double points. I can't really say much more.
So, obviously, that would end season 12. Now, moving away from the racing just for a minute, obviously, this season, another full season of streaming for the Ginettas. Up
Yes.
to the halfway point of this season, I mean, how has it affected season 12 so far?
With the streaming.
Having the streaming and commentary on it, how has that
Oh,
affected season 12?
it always adds that extra bit, doesn't it? It's, you know, it makes the whole the complete package. You know, I'm able to approach Ginetta and say, look, this is what we can offer, this is what we can do, and you know, hopefully go places with it. I mean, it's a great asset, and you know, we are all grateful you do it. We have a little bit of banter, but yeah,
Would be fun without it,
it's
would
a
it?
good asset.
If you, I don't know how many of the streams you've watched or look back on, because I'm sure you look back on some of it just to review
Most
stuff.
of them, yeah.
Which of the streams so far would you say was the best one in your opinion from general racing of it and the general way the streaming works? I mean, because obviously, even though I'm asking this, I mean, even though I comment on it, it's a bit of a sneaky question into it.
Yeah.
But with the streaming of leagues, I mean, each league wants its own little twist on things, or always wants it to be the best it can possibly be. So for the leagues, obviously, they get feedback on that. But for the stream, I mean, it's always important to look at things. And which one would you say was the best, and why?
It's hard to choose between two. One would be Dubai, just purely because of the racing. Obviously, it keeps you going, and then you know, you if you're doing a race and it's dull, it's hard to commentate on. You know, you wouldn't have a job if there was no racing. So, yeah, Dubai was good. It informative. You know, it's good on that aspect. Alton Park was also good, just purely because I got ripped again. You know, it's again good racing there, and it was close battling, watching cars come through. it's where the racing is. The streams are good purely because we provide you things to do to make the streams good. If we were just all 10 seconds apart, it'd be quite a difficult stream to do. So yeah, it's where the racing's good. Obviously, it enhances the stream, and then you sail within that.
I mean, apart from obviously the racing that it's streamed, which shows pretty much everyone who watches just how good this league is to. I mean, even if you join in late just to get involved and start a sim racing hobby or career. So as you know, I do various parts within the stream. From a commentating point of view, I mean, how informative can it be? Because obviously some of it's a lap around a track, some of it's just allowing, I mean, that's talking and non-talking, like having a bit of a review in the qualifying. I mean, how does the commentary help anyone that watches it understand the league?
It the way you come across and the way you do it, it just you explain things well, and you're good at following battles and explaining what's going on, and obviously your notes and things like this, what you do behind the scenes, which I don't know if a lot of people know, obviously enhances the next stream, and it just keeps everyone informed and everyone up together. So without the stream, I think we wouldn't get the numbers we do have, and you're half to thank for that.
Now, moving away from that before we come to the end of it, there is one little thing that we are yet to mention, and that is the amount. And that is the amount of roof cams you owe me. After every race, it's become your trait to do as many barrel rolls as you can across that finish line.
Yes.
And we did have a question from AFCape earlier in the stream, which I particularly saved for this point. And his particular question was, how many roofs has Jamie smashed this season?
Hang on, bear me 2 seconds. I'll let you know. Just stay there for 2 seconds.
He's also got a notebook, but instead of writing down the action, he writes how many rolls he's had every race.
Race that one, so that's 2. I did the 1 on that one. That's 3.
It's called Jamie's Roll Diary.
5, 7, 9 roofs at the moment.
And that's just Ginetta's alone.
Yeah, I mean, I've got faster cars, especially Clio's are a lot more fun, but yeah, I want to break records. I'm not going to do it through pace, so
it also sounds like you want to
do it.
It almost sounds like you want to break your team's bank account at the same time.
Oh no, we've got manufacturer backing, so.
Oh, is it? Oh, right. Free parts.
Yeah. It's got to be done in style.
So let's have a very small look at not a detailed one, just a little small peek into season 13, because obviously we're going to be doing another one of these at the end of this season as a proper review and a much more in-depth look into season 13 before we do another pre-season notebook when that comes around. But obviously, as you've already mentioned, a new car coming in. Not yet revealing what car that is. I think I know how. Obviously, most of the guys in the league know pretty much what car it will most likely be.
Yep.
But in the future, how many Ginetta cars in future seasons would you like to run on the Friday night? I mean, because at the moment you've got one, you're now turning to 2. I mean, could that possibly turn to a 3rd one in the future?
Potentially. It's just the only issue I've got is time. Reason being is obviously starting at 8:30, 9:30, next one 10:30. You know, it's just that's the only issue is time. I'd have to restructure everything, but I don't want to go away from the principle of what Ginetta is, and that's in real life. And I'm trying to replicate on the sim. Is it's close, affordable, rookie/pro racing, which is close. So I want to stick to that. Hence, the GT5s are the actual GT5 car is probably going to go next season and be replaced again with the Ginetta, with Emily's back in, providing she carries on with it. And the new car will also be a Ginetta, and it will be a step up. So I could do 3, I could go higher, but I just need to work out times and race distances. So I'll just do another one next season and we'll see how it goes, and interest and things. Yeah, we'll see.
It's going to be interesting in the future of this, because obviously starting off as just a GT5 league to then now start to expand is quite a feat in itself. But hopefully it will all go well. Now, with the GT5s, I mean, could we see a format change at all into next season, like very small ones, or is it looking like it will be remaining very much as it is?
No, everything's going to get turned upside down.
So pretty much a fresh start for the Ginettas on Fridays. And
yeah, it's the only similarity is going to be it's the Ginetta car. The brand. It's going to be one race. There's going to be twists and turns in that race. There's going to be
hopefully not a snake chuka at the front.
There's going to be things to give people who aren't at the front more of a chance at the front and make the top guys really work for it. But because there's only one race, I will have to put a plan in place, which I'm trying to work out. You know, yeah, a lot of things will happen. I mean, I'm sure some of the top guys won't like me because I'm not making their life easy. But to then turn around and go, I'm the champion next season, it's not going to be because you just drove off from the front. It's going to be because you've worked for it. And it's not aimed at them or anyone else. It's just, at the end of the day, it provides good racing, it keeps numbers up, and it gives anyone a chance of winning. So it should progress quite nicely, and I'm sure the drivers will like it, and I'm sure you'll like it.
So one final thing before we go, because time is getting on.
Yes.
I don't know whether you listened to the Group A mid-season notebook last week.
Briefly.
Now I had a little surprise for Jack at the end, as I do with you. What I am intending on doing, and will hopefully do, is before the final race at Monza with double points, hopefully we'll have Adam and Boyraxer close together enough that both of them can still win it. But I'm going to have, I don't know if you watch much of the boxing, but you know they have those gloves are off style things before a fight?
Yep.
I'm going to host one of them. Now, even if Boyraxer is crowned champion before Monza, I'm still going to do one, but with a few more drivers involved. And we'll do it as a Monza special, if champion is crowned, we'll do it as a bit of a Monza special going into it, and then have
Yep.
one for season 13. But I would like you there as well as a co-presenter with me
Right.
for that one. But that's my little surprise for you, is a little gloves are off Ginetta notebook style.
Yeah, I like it.
Whereby a little bit of trash talk can come in, obviously not severe stuff, but just a little bit of chirp, just to get everyone
Benji.
riled up.
Yeah.
But so that's a little surprise I've decided to come up with. So hopefully that'll be a good one to stream on. But
Yeah, no, that'd be good fun.
But round 7 tomorrow night, Bathurst. You're not there, which is a shame.
No, I like Brands. I love that track as well.
You've missed 2 of your favourite circuits. It's not gone well this season, has it?
I know. I haven't planned this at all. You can tell it's not biased towards me.
But I'm hosting that, so it will be on time. But in all seriousness, tomorrow we do have Bathurst. It's the start of the final half of the season, and it's crunch time for the top 2, where the boy Raxer can continue his form and continue to walk away from Adam Morris and win the championship before Monza, or whether Adam Morris can keep him in touch and go into Monza with a good chance to win it. Not discounting anyone else, but I think at the moment it is between those 2. If anyone else can get close, fair play to them. They would have done very, very well, in my opinion. But do join us for that tomorrow night. That will be on the stream, and hopefully Jamie will be watching that wherever he is on the night time.
I will do.
Because I can assure you at Bathurst there's going to be overtaking, racing, bumps and scuffs on the walls.
And rooftops.
Well, you're not there, so how's that going to happen?
Someone to take my place.
But yeah, do join us tomorrow for round number 7 at Bathurst. It's crunch time for everyone. But for anyone that's still listening, thank you for listening in tonight to a special notebook. I'm hoping to release notebook round 6 tomorrow before the race, so do keep an eye on that to keep informed on everything that happened in detail at Alton Park. But round 7 is almost upon us. Do join us tomorrow, and thank you all for listening in.